On this week's episode, we're going to do another beagling-related topic, straight from the field, literally. Hope you enjoy. You're listening to the UKC Hunting Ops Podcast, celebrating hunting dog heritage, competition, and community. United Kennel Club has been the hunting dog sports home for coonhounds, beagles, retrievers, pointers, cur, feist, and more for over 125 years. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode here. Alan Gingrich here. I'm running solo again here today for a little bit of it, just this first part of it, but I'm going to be joined here in a little bit. One of the funnest things to do is to record a podcast out in the elements, and that's what you're gonna hear today. We are sitting out in a field running some dogs with a good buddy, and we are talking about a bunch of different things, just kind of all over the place here. Friend of ours that was actually a good friend of my younger brother Phil's. His name's Atlee Lambright from northern Indiana, and we're going to talk a little bit about his running grounds that he has on his place. A beautiful, beautiful running grounds that he kind of put everything together, made it what it is. And so I asked him about. We talk about some of that. He's always had some great dogs, great hounds. And he loves training dogs, and he's got some of the best trained dogs you're going to find anywhere, and just some solid hunters is what he has. And not just that, his lines just seem to just keep reproducing, and this guy just can't miss, it seems like, as far as the pups he keeps and this and that. So we're going to talk about some of that and some other things. You're going to hear us. We're kind of all over the place, so there's it's not like we're trying to necessarily stay on topic or anything like that. It's just sitting out in the field, running dogs, got a fire going. We've got some T-bone steaks on the grill. It started out, it was kind of drizzling most of the evening there for a while, but enough to wear some long raincoats and things like that. But nevertheless, we're having a great time. And I love recording episodes in a relaxed atmosphere like this. So, and you're going to hear one of the things Atlee talks to his dogs like they're his little kids, little babies. And my little squirrel dog, little feist dog, is actually in his lap when I first hit record. So you're going to hear him talking to her like he talks to little dogs, and I don't think he knew I hit the record button. But hey, I'm not going to say a whole lot. We're just going to get right into it. So here goes.
Hmm? Where's your rabbit? Where's your rabbit? How are you?
Man, she's always got to be out here, doesn't she?
Yeah.
She just loves coming out here anywhere you go.
Always involved.
I know.
Oh, chilly.
Oh, man, Atlee. This has been a good night.
It has.
So far.
The rain
finally,
has stopped.
Yeah, finally the rain quit. If it weren't for that and the fact that we're not in the UP somewhere running hair instead of this, but man, this is as good as it gets down here too.
I'd be up for another one of those trips.
Yeah. And that steak T-bone was good too.
Yeah, you nailed that.
Yeah.
We had the fire just right, no flames, and good old coal.
Didn't take long either.
No, it didn't. 7-8 minutes.
Yeah, so this is, man, I love just sitting out here. So for our listeners here, I am with my friend Atlee Lambright, and we decided to go run some dogs. Brought my young dog over here that's kind of out of some of his stock, and then he's got old Bo loose. They ran together a little bit tonight, for a little bit.
They did.
When we first turned them, then they split off, and they've been split ever since.
Yeah.
We just went and got mine across the road, saw the rabbit come back, and called her and put her back here in the good stuff. But man, Atlee, you have got a nice property here.
Thank you.
Would you say this field is 17 acres?
17 acres.
17 acres. I know you were. You have a bunch more acreage here, but you have a nice woods, and you've got this. This was just an agriculture field when you bought it. When did you move here? Like 4 or 5 years ago.
2020.
2020.
Yeah,
so 5
this
years.
was a bean field.
Bean field. That's right. It was.
A bean field. Yeah.
I remember you were talking about you're going to put some grasses in, and I remember, I thought, oh, that's
a little sketchy idea.
Yeah, I thought it was, you don't have much for rabbits, maybe deer and raccoons and maybe some squirrels in your woods, and you're talking about creating some rabbit habitat. And I remember you were talking about grasses and this. You did some research and stuff. I never paid that much attention. I've been over here running. We always ran up there the other part of your property.
The northern end.
And then until a week or two ago when I came out here, and you've got this mowed down the middle, and this stuff is for real, and it is holding rabbits big time.
Yeah, it turned out, first couple of years, it was quite sketchy. It had a lot of weeds, but that native grass just takes a long time to establish, and it came on, it kept on getting better and progressing, and it turned out, it's the 4th year, and it's, in my opinion, it's a home run.
That's what I thought when I was here. I was just like, holy, this is really holding rabbits, and just the undergrowth and everything is just, the dogs have to,
they got to work.
They got to work, because a week or two ago when I was over here, they were sitting kind of tight, and they can in this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, holy cow, that's when I thought, man, I'd love to bring my pup over here. So that's what we're doing tonight, actually. And
she's doing a bang-up job.
She's got a long ways to go, but man, you turn them loose in a place like this, and then you turn Bo loose. And yeah, I stopped at Myers and I got us some T-bone steaks, and I thought, man, I know you're big on building fires and stuff, and we'll throw some steak on the grill.
Fire and protein diet like that is right on my agenda.
Gosh, those things were good too.
Yeah, juicy.
Ran. There's still one laying there. Your buddy, I thought, was going to be out here too, but he never showed up. So we got another steak there to do something with. But
I think
I'm full
we eat
right
that
now.
for break tomorrow.
Maybe we might have to split that one.
Yeah,
that's a $20 steak there, I think.
Yeah, you did a nice job. That was a good selection.
It kind of was raining or drizzling most of the night until just last 15, 20 minutes ago now. There I hear Bo. I don't know if...
yeah, he just opened up behind us.
Man, he was doing a bang-up job around there, wheeling them one around here and back and forth into the woods.
We've seen his a few times, didn't we?
Yeah.
We're talking about this tall grass, Alan, and
I
think something else that really is complementing the grass is I planted clover strips along here, and I keep that mowed nice and short, and they really kind of navigate around this fresh, lush.
Everything's just so coming up so good and everything. If I was a rabbit, I'd love to live here.
Yeah. Kind of living in the buffet.
Yeah, no kidding. It's just, man, I'm just impressed with it. But I know I was telling my brother John about it, and he was like, Mel, find out what grasses he put in. So what kind of grasses is it that you put in here?
It's a mixture of about 3 to 5 different grasses. Tall blue stem.
There he goes. He just crossed the path up there. Missed her. I didn't see the rabbit.
I'm glad Chili missed it too.
Yeah.
Back to the grasses, it's tall blue stem mixed in with small blue stem, Egyptian wheat, I think it's called, or Egyptian grass. There's that 4th one. Switchgrass is in there, a couple different kinds of switchgrass.
Yeah.
And then a whole boatload of flowers, wildflowers. And I'm telling you, in about a month from now, this field is beautiful. There's all kinds of colors, yellow, blue, purple, orange, red. It really is pretty to look at.
So you have a lot of dead grass, tall grasses that are dead right now. I guess that'll all
that'll stay until the fresh or the green takes that over, and that'll slowly decay and fall down. And
and it's just wide open out here. You would think hawks would have a heyday, but it has enough thick undergrowth that how can they probably can't get to them.
Unless they cross this trail, you're not going to see the rabbit.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I got the rabbits, is because the hawks can't see them.
Yeah. Yeah, Bo's doing a nice job on this one. Man, this is the way to do it. Sit out here with a fire and listen to dogs running. I hear Zoe somewhere. She's kind of echoing off the woods over there somewhere.
She actually might be in the timber.
Maybe.
They do circle in there quite a bit.
Yeah. You go to a lot of UKC hunts. Last year you haven't went maybe to as many, but, outside of being the guy that does some impressions of chicken impersonation, chicken laying an egg, and what is that? What's that other one that you do? It's usually a little later in the evenings when you do those demonstrations.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've done those. I tell people I can't do that anymore. But the other one was the cat.
Cat taking a
dump.
Yeah,
that's probably kind of my headliner. Is the cat laying an egg.
But you run marathons.
Yeah, I do.
What
enjoy
made you
running.
do that? When did you start doing that?
I believe I was 16 years old. I saw an article, it was a small clipping in the local paper. It was talking about the Boston Marathon, and that was a big impressive for me. I was like, there is no way anybody's running 26.2 miles. That same spring, I was reading that.
Man, listen to him right now.
Yeah, he's putting it on.
It's echoing a little bit, I guess, maybe, but he's got that thing on a rail.
Yeah, he's latched on.
Two dogs are kind of headed toward each other right now.
They might come together.
Yeah, but sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're good. Then the local town had a race there, so I started training for it, and the rest is kind of history. Here's how naive that I was to the whole running deal. I went running in my Red Wing shoes. I didn't know I had such a thing as running shoes. So,
Really?
Yeah, that was my first race. Was Topeka days. Did fairly well, and just kind of the bug got me. I loved it. I loved that.
Just like to run.
Yeah, I loved the run, the way it made me feel, and the competitive side was as much as anything.
Yeah, and then you actually ran the Boston Marathon, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
What was that
a few
like?
times. That was you got to qualify to get in there, which I never figured I would, and I did qualify. And the first year I ran it was 2013. That was the year they bombed it.
Oh, yeah, that was your first one?
That was my first one.
I remember you talking about that.
We had gotten done and was on the way to our condo, and the people back home heard it before we did. They heard about it.
Yeah.
And they're blowing up my phone, and it was a mess.
Huh.
Then I ran it in 2015 and in 16. 2016 was a very special year for me. My niece also is a runner, and she qualified, and we both went out there that year, 2016.
Up to Boston.
Boston, yeah.
Huh. Yeah, gosh darn it. That's so that's, you're going to field trials and stuff. It usually doesn't take you very long to go fetch your dogs up. For one, your dogs listen like nobody's business or like none other, but man, it doesn't take you long to run through anywhere and get somewhere.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I hopefully we can keep it like that.
Yeah.
I'm still running, but not like I used to.
Yeah. The other thing you do sometimes when we go up north, we went on a bunch of hunting trips and stuff. You do the damnedest things. I just don't get how somebody just treats themselves so horribly. They're just like laying in a creek in the wintertime and stuff. Just what's? I just don't get that.
Well, yeah. That was a situation. I hadn't showered.
You do all the ice stuff.
Yeah.
Why? I guess that's all part of the training stuff.
Part of the training.
Yeah.
I after a good heart run, good training cycle, and they actually promote that.
Yeah.
Take an ice bath, and I have taken my share of ice bath, and I still don't like them. I really hate them. But they are very beneficial. I mean, your recovery time is half if you do that.
Mm.
So, that's where that river came in.
Yeah. I remember it's probably been 4, 5, 6 years ago, maybe longer than I think. But I was up at the Topeka Club, and I was running a dog that morning. Somebody else had entered your dog, and I drew you. You weren't there yet, and they said that you'll be there in about 10 minutes. And so we waited on you to go out. This was like 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning.
I remember.
And you ran 17 miles that morning before the Beagle trial.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I did that quite a number of times. I'd get up at like 3:30 in the morning, get my miles in, and go to the Beagle Club.
Geez, same thing when we go up north hunting, up in snowshoe hunting or something. Dogs are running. And
I remember one Saturday
you take
morning.
off and just go run down the road.
It's so beautiful up there. Yeah, you just get lost in your own state of mind and the whole natural high. But I was going to say, I remember Dave Mumby was at Topeka Club at a hunt.
Dave's from Michigan,
Yeah.
lower Michigan, southern Michigan.
Good boy. Anyway, we go behind where your mom and dad used to live. There's a Pumpkin Vine Trail there, and we hit that trail a lot. And it had snowed that morning, and we ran that trail. We're walking down this trail, and Mumby's like, there's some tractors. Somebody was running this morning. And I just looked down and said, yeah, that was me. He had a hard time believing that.
Yeah.
He still brings that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
So the other thing that I wanted to ask you about that is kind of, to me, I've known you for a long time. You kind of ran around with my little brother Phil.
Mm-hmm.
I say little brother. He used to be little. He's kind of big now, but he's my younger brother, so I call him little brother
He
Phil.
grew a little bit.
Yeah, but you were the same age. You kind of hung around each other. But
Yeah.
he was always into dogs, but you never really were at that time.
No, I really wasn't. I'm what you would consider a first-generation houndsman.
Yeah.
I got my first dog from Phil, and that winter we were rabbit hunting.
You guys were just teenagers at this time,
Yeah,
right?
teenagers. He had the dog named Lola
Yeah.
and Bella, Buck Lake Lola, yeah.
Yeah.
And Bella would not hunt. And at the beginning of the hunt that morning, he told me if this dog don't jump a rabbit, it's not going home with us. And immediately I'm like, I want the dog, just to have some fun with it.
Yeah.
And I did take the dog home, and we did go rabbit hunting, and there was no rabbits being jumped. It would just follow me around like a puppy, a pet. Until one evening, my nephew Seth were out hunting, rabbit hunting. And,
But the dog would run if there was a rabbit.
yeah, it ran a beautiful track. There's Bobo. He's getting real
right.
close.
Yeah, he's right here. We're probably spooking this rabbit from coming out.
And it accidentally jumped a rabbit when it was going to the bathroom. And the rest is history. Ever since that happened, that dog just started jumping rabbits with the best of them.
That's weird. I never knew that until you had told me that before. That Phil was like, "Hey, that she's not going to cut it at my place," and you insisted, "Hey, you'll take this dog." She has literally kind of been almost the foundation of a bunch of your dogs, and that's kind of hard to believe, because your line of dogs that you hunt, the one thing that they don't lack is hunt.
Yeah, that's their
I've
strong
never
point.
seen any of your. Yeah, it's just the opposite. So Bella was kind of the foundation. She was Hoosier's, or is that Classy's mama?
Classy's mama.
Classy's
yeah,
mama.
Classy,
Then you had Hoosier.
rock and roll. Hoosier was daddy to Classy,
And
Bobo, Rock.
And Bo, yeah, Bo. the one
Yeah,
that's running
Hoosier was out of Buck Lake Boog and Booger.
That's the one Phil had.
Yes.
That booger dog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then we bred her to Bella.
He was a Branco dog.
Which,
Yeah.
that was a blessing in disguise, that whole crossing.
That wasn't even that was an
No,
accident, wasn't it?
I had no idea. Didn't know anything about these dogs when they come in heat or how
Yeah.
aggressive they become. But it was super cold that winter.
You used to have your males and females in the same kennel, didn't you?
It never crossed my mind. But it was super cold that winter, and I felt bad for them. So I took them into Mom's basement, tied them up. Well, Bella must have been in prime
What are you
time.
doing, Chili?
And Hoosier chewed his leash in two, and
No,
the
Chili,
rest
get
is
down.
history.
Get down, Chili. Get on. No, you don't need to sit here. You are all wet, girl. There you go.
She likes to be in your face. And
Oh, she's got to
right
be in
involved.
everything. You heard her run with the. She
Yeah.
ran with the pup a little bit this morning. She started doing that up north. I always take her along up north and stuff. Talking to this little feist dog here. But yeah, she gets in there and yips. Sounds like a little.
Yeah, definitely
Like
heard her open quite a
just
few
little,
times.
yeah, just a little chirper. Yeah, that's just kind of weird how that all worked out. But Hoosier, I liked him. He had a unique mouth. I actually hunted him a couple times in hunts
Yeah, you
for
did. You won the Michigan State hunt with him.
I was thinking about that on
Yeah.
the way over here tonight. I knew it was something.
Forget what year that was, but yeah, I couldn't go, and you handled him and
Yeah.
send me a picture or post
Yeah.
with the trophy.
I
was-
liked that dog because I remember at that time you were pretty green actually, and I thought, man, this guy's got a pretty good dog right here. I kind of like this dog. And then at that time, Classy you were kind of running Classy, and Rock is littermate brother, right?
Yeah, Little Mint Brothers.
And I remember some guys were talking a little bit about maybe breeding a Classy, and I remember a couple times they said, "Hey, go to the well here, go to what made Classy."
Mm-hmm.
But now look at I don't know how old is Classy now.
11.
11. He's
Yeah.
that old already.
Uh-huh. But he gets around like a 7-year-old. He's in great health. I mean,
Yeah.
it could go south tomorrow, but so far
Yeah.
he's just really doing well.
But now, and you didn't breed him all that much until he has really kind of made a name for himself. Not just he was a good hound too, did a bunch of winning.
Yeah, he did.
Probably the biggest thing was when he and his littermate placed first and second champions at NHBA
Yeah,
days.
that was
had to
awesome.
be cool.
Yeah. I never did have that much luck with him, and I should have. I had luck with him, but I didn't campaign him like I should have when he was young.
Yeah.
I went to a few of the local ones. Night Go to the World Hunt.
Yeah.
I went to Nationals in 2018. He placed fourth then. I That was a great ride. But we was talking about how good hunt those dogs have. But man, that dog could run a track like no
He
other.
could.
Huge nose. I mean, he wasn't that fast, but he made it look like he was fast with all the turns that he was doing. Just stay on the track,
Yeah.
right between his legs.
You know, we go up to run snowshoe hare. That's still my favorite thing. And I think I took you up to the UP the first time you ever went up there. Do you remember that time?
Yeah,
We
I
ran
sure
around
do.
Mayo the first day, like a Saturday maybe or something. Around there, you got to know where to go, and you got to hunt for a rabbit, before or a hare before you can run them, there anyways. So, but the next day, I remember Sunday, we drove up to the UP, and you'd never been there, and we were going to meet my brother up there, but we went out just kind of looked for a spot what I thought looked good. But you remember that first spot we got to, and we pulled off the side of the road. I told you, I said, "Hey, this looks good. There's some cedars, low hanging cedars right here, and everything."
Drop 'em in there.
We get them off the tailgate, and we've got dogs in our laps, basically putting them on the ground, and I still see that white jumper, that hare take a leap out of there, and boom, we had dogs opening up in our arms, and the race was on.
And we ran until we called that evening.
I know.
Just accidental find. Here we go.
That was your first experience.
From then on, I just figured that's the way it is up here in the UP. But that's not the case.
No,
At
but
all.
going back to Classy up there, that dog, he is still the best that I have ever seen up there.
Really?
I tell those stories a lot, and he is.
He could run the hair off a hair. He mean literally.
He's a good cottontail dog. He's a grand and stuff, but man, that dog is just. It just seemed there for about 3-4 years. It didn't matter what, who, what, when, where, what, any time. He just dominated every dog that was there.
He really did.
He did.
And
I always tell the story of dogs. You can see what a dog's doing by just watching dogs if you know well enough. And then there's this one story. If you'd hear somebody telling this story, how far off that dog was of a track. Okay, now the wind direction, it wasn't windy, but it had a slight breeze in his favor. And when I'm standing there, and we're spread out a little bit, and I've got a log. I'm standing right next to a big tree that's laid down, a log and the hare comes running up at me and runs right just alongside the log. Here he comes. He's ahead of the other 2-3 dogs that were in there, and by a good little piece. And he's just got his head up, and he didn't really run like he's just kicking dirt running. Just his head up and just a pace that he doesn't slow down. That dog had that scent in his nose, and I would almost be embarrassed to say how far he was off that line, and he never missed a lick.
and made the turn.
And I
kept
saw where the
rolling.
rabbit went by, the hare went by, and makes a turn, and he started turning long before. I say long before, but just watching that time, I will never forget that. And he never missed a lick. He never missed a step. But as far off as he was off of that line where the actual line was, and to see that he had that scent in his nose the whole time is just still just amazes me today. And it's things like that sometimes you see hunting dogs that you learn and that you don't see every day. Not just every now and then you see something that just makes you go wow. And that was one of the wows for me in a dog, and it was him.
I remember that story. You've said that story before, but I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah.
But his nose was exceptional. I could take him out in sub 12, 15 degree weather, wind blowing, and he could run a rabbit.
Yeah.
It just.
But
he was
do you
huge
remember
nose.
that first time we went up there? That same time we met up with my brother on Monday morning there early, and they had turned dogs loose. Him and a bunch of the guys. I say a bunch of them. There's 2, 3, 4 guys with him. And we didn't, because we had ran a day and a half.
So we just kind of kept.
We just
them boxed
kept
up,
our
didn't
dogs
we?
in the box and stuff. And hey, no, you guys go ahead and run yours. We're just going to take a little break this morning. Sat there and listened to them, and they had some dogs that were kind of out of shape, and this and that. But I know that his one buddy, they know he knows what a good dog is. But anyways, I remember it was about 11 o'clock or 10, 11 o'clock, and their dogs were struggling a little bit, but I think they were tired. And my brother's dogs were in there too, and finally he's looked at me and is like, "Hey, you turn something loose, we need some help here." And you went and turned.
A little reinforcement.
You turned old Classy
loose.
I remember they were about 700 yards, and I remember you said, "Well, he's almost there," and he almost to him. They were just kind of picking around. he opens up and he turns around and comes back towards us. He was 700 yards away to begin with.
I remember
Comes
that.
back. You remember that?
Yeah.
Comes right back towards us. Before he gets to us, he makes a right-hand turn. Now, the old man is sitting there, and he is not saying anything. I know what he's thinking. He's thinking this dog's
Get
running
this
a
joker
deer.
out of here.
He is running a deer, and he comes back at us, and he takes kind of hangs a right, kind of makes an L over there, goes down, and he's just getting close to being out of hearing again, and then he turns around again.
And comes back.
And then that's when he turned around. That now he's listening. I'm watching this old man, and that has his attention. This thing is not supposed to turn around. What he's thinking, I know what he's thinking. Here he comes back, and this thing crosses right there at the corner where we're sitting at. The hare does. He hasn't missed a lick on this thing, and that dog had his attention for the rest of that weekend.
Yes, he
Next
did.
couple 2-3 days. I know he tried to buy the dog from
Yeah.
you. But he was just like that. And it's just any pack he was with, he was just
He'd carry the mail.
carried it.
Yeah, he did.
It's amazing how,
I look back in the hunts that I ran him in. It seemed every hunt that we was in, I didn't win them all, but we had a great hunt. Like the dogs,
He was kind of never out of it.
never out of
Yeah.
it, and we always had dang near high score. The dog that was in my cast or him to win it. That just goes to show that he just kept it together.
Yeah, I loved that dog anyways. But yeah, so now, now he's kind of made a name for himself and a whole lot in some of these dogs that are off of him that, he didn't really breed him till he was older, and it's too bad,
He was, I think he's about 7.5, 8 years old when I started breeding him. He was 7, because I know some guys have 3-year-olds, so seems like
there's several that are more and more. That big Al dog.
Yeah.
One named Al and another one named Paul.
Yeah.
Named him after my brother. Yeah, Big Al.
Big Al, he made a lot of racket.
He
down there.
is. He's still out there.
Yeah.
Mostly
He's
hunting
still
in
winning some hunts.
Yeah, mostly hunting in PKC and some other hunts, I guess.
He got a little tall on me.
Yeah,
that's
he
the
did.
reason I moved him on. I like him around 15 inches, and I bet he's a 16 and a half.
I remember that first morning when I saw him run. He had just basically started that morning. That was
I forget where we were.
another place where you had a little cookout over a fire. I forget, it was you and I don't know. I think I had a young dog too that I turned loose there, but I
Was it
remember
behind Roy Millbrae?
No, it was where was it? It was your buddy Dave. If I forget his last name,
Absolutely.
kind of back a
Yep.
driveway back behind his
I do
place.
remember.
and
I did
then-
have him that morning. That's right.
Yeah, so you kind of didn't, you didn't grow up with dogs or anything, Did you like? So you got Bella. Did you just kind of?
I fell in
Did
love
that
with
just
Bella.
hook you or what?
It did. I didn't enjoy hunting or running her as much at the get-go that I just loved the dog. We kind of connected, and then the rest came later. Watching her work a track and jump a rabbit, listening to her. I was like, oh, okay, here we go, yeah. So I really, it wasn't until afterwards where I was like, I actually enjoyed running. But, yeah, she got my heart.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker. I get probably a little too attached to him.
Well, taking her up north, a lot of years you take her up north, and she wasn't very fast, at least not when we were taking her up there, but so many times she would be at the rear of the pack, and you just hear when she's catching up to the other dogs, she never stopped, and then the race is back on again.
She did that a lot.
She did it a lot.
Yeah. I always loved when we was in competitions and hunts, field trials. If the rabbit was coming at us, I was in hot water. I was not going to get first line, but if that rabbit would have turned and made an L, that's where she would shine. She'd get that first line.
Sometimes I've been jealous about somebody like you just starting, and it's just like everything just fell in place for you. It seemed like your
lucky.
first dogs and your dogs handle as well as any dogs you will see at a trial. You can have 5 of them on the tailgate, and they're all standing there, and not a one of them will jump off that tailgate.
Yeah, that's
How do you do that? You just start with them young.
young. That's your key. The best spot to start is on tailgate. If they push against your hand, I park at an area where it's soft grass or whatever. And they push against your hand. You try to collar them up.
Yeah.
I just give them a nudge and push them off.
Oh yeah.
Or push them halfway off and catch them. once or twice of that, and then it's over and they'll stay. And
Yeah.
continually, I'm saying, stay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's actually
Because for
pretty
you,
easy.
you just go open the box doors, and for most guys, you'd be like, whoa, 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 But
Yeah.
no, yours don't go further than the edge of the tailgate.
I still find humor in it when we're at a cast, maybe in the morning. We get the dogs out of the truck, ready to cut loose. Everybody's ready to catch their dogs, and they're shooting out. That's kind of fun. I enjoy training them.
And then handling, one time a call on them booms, yours are usually the first ones at your feet. It's amazing, and that's
Probably the most embarrassing part about calling them is my puppy voice, my dog voice. I can't make fun of that.
You talk to them like they're your kids.
Like a child.
Yeah. Here a while back, he's talking about that is I knew your dad just kind of, your dad passed away, several years ago, and that's kind of when I got to know him the most in the last 5-6 years.
Yeah, you came over and played some music quite a few times there.
But so your dad was a farmer, you grew up on a farm and everything, but so it was your cousin that I was somewhere, I forget where we were, but anyways, we were talking about you and your dad. And then he started telling this story about how your dad talked to the cats and stuff when you were out milking and doing chores and the dogs and stuff. And the way he was imitating your dad, I said, that's Atlee right there. That's exactly how he talks to his dogs. It's like he sounded just like you.
The apple didn't fall very far. Huh?
I said, that's where he gets it from, right there.
Dad
funny.
used to love cats. He used to have a lot of them around too. We'd be milking, he'd be spraying right in the cat's mouth.
So you kind of just dopped on it just because probably if it weren't for Paul or for Phil, you probably wouldn't even have dogs.
Yeah, I still blame him. He's the culprit to all this. I always tell people I'd have better dogs if I wouldn't run. And if I wouldn't run, I'd have better dogs, or vice versa. It is kind of hard to battle both and be competitive.
Yeah, the one thing that you have done when you've been successful with is really ran them a lot. Mm-hmm. They don't just sit around.
No.
You ran them a lot.
Yep, I think everybody knows.
Do you like the competition part of it, or if there was no competition, do you think you'd still love just to run dogs?
I would.
Yeah.
I love the competition side of things, but I loved the pleasure hunt just like this. I really dig this. This is fun.
Yeah. Man, we're sitting out here. It's now getting dark. Mosquitoes are starting to bite here. This is the middle of the 14th of May. 14th of May, I think. But
yeah,
man, it's a beautiful night. But this is sitting out here in your rabbit running grounds out here. And good relaxed way to do it. Chili. She's just making it chili. Do you have to do that?
For some reason, I think she really enjoys my lap. It must be just made perfectly for her. She
just needs somebody's attention. Always has to be in your face.
She does. Yeah, she's all right.
Yeah. Hey, so you got some other young stock off of Class, and what's
Classy
the other legs?
Yeah,
what do you call her?
Fifi, but Legs.
Yeah.
She's out at Trevor McQuain's TNT Raising Cane.
Yeah, the world champion.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember one of the first times you took her up north, and she was, gosh, she's just a talented little track dog too.
She really is.
You can't miss. Have you ever had a dog that didn't work out?
Well, I guess I don't keep that many dogs around, and I got 7 right now, which is the most I've ever had. But yeah, they do a pretty nice job.
Every one of them.
Yeah.
So
I got lucky. It's nothing really. It's the good Lord looking down on me, I guess, because
I remember one of the first times I had her up north. She was barely a year old. Maybe she might have been. I think she was a little under a year old.
She was under a year.
And a little track dog then too. I remember it's like, holy cow, that dog's gonna make something. She's just got to figure it out. She's gonna make something.
I remember you saying that. In the following year.
And this pup that I'm running tonight, she's out of her, and I see she gives too much mouth, probably barks a little too much right now, but man, she's got the tools. She just needs to
rule the track.
She just needs to learn how to do it. But I used to see a little bit of that same stuff from her mama too when she was young. But,
yep. And she outgrew that pretty quick.
And you had her in the world finals in the final cast.
Yeah.
What was that like?
I'll never forget it. I was that nervous. I don't think I was thinking much else except not to screw up or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was very exciting.
She was a workhorse in that cast. Didn't work out for her.
It did not, but I was very happy with her performance.
Yeah.
Ended up getting 4th.
Yep. Now you raised a litter of pups off of her, but then now you've got some others here too that are what are they? Some battle and style. Yeah. What
Yep,
are they?
they're both out of Classy as well. The one goes back to Pepper Ann.
Pepper
Yeah.
Ann,
Pepper Ann was her grandma.
Okay.
Bob Hillebush owned her
Yeah.
from Missouri,
Yeah.
and we bred Classy to a female out of that.
Off of Pepper Ann.
Yes.
And gosh, they're strong too. Battle
They
and style.
really
Both
are.
of them.
I'm not campaigning them like I should, but they are nice dogs.
They are.
They ain't the
That's-
footiest, but they are so true. Yeah, I love running them.
It's just like you can't miss, man. It's like.
Well, you say that, then I add this, but I have a dog out of Legs and Classy that she's 15 months old. She'd probably be one of the best ones I've had.
There's another young one.
She-
Is that the Jam dog or
Yeah.
the Jam? That's the litter mate to mine.
Yeah, it is. I call her cross country Classy's acoustic jam. She can jam.
Yeah.
She's a machine.
Yeah.
Huge nose, and she'll just dominate a track.
There were a couple of those litter mates that were in the Derby Championship at the Nationals this year.
Yeah.
She'd be in one of them.
Yeah.
Made the top 16. What was there? 2 or 3 of them?
Yes, it was 3 Classy pups actually in the juniors.
Yeah.
Matt Turner and Joe Merritt have the dog named Dog,
Yeah.
which ended up placing second, and
Yeah.
Buddy Campus and Mark Day owned also a litter mate to Jam that they call Hoosier Daddy.
Yeah. Huh.
Ended up getting beat, but I
Yeah.
was very
Yeah.
happy with the way she looked.
Yeah, there's another. She just looks like she's really gonna be something too.
Mm-hmm. She'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, but yeah. Hey, Atlee, it is getting dark. We should probably round these dogs up. I think I can. Hopefully, I can catch mine. I've been working on her a little bit. It's one thing I had to work on a little bit, but
Yeah,
we're getting there.
We'll be all right.
Here comes Bo
Yeah,
again, coming
Bo
by
was
us.
saying now we're
yeah,
not, it's not quite time yet.
they-
Normally, I'm in bed about an hour already, to be honest with you. I get up around
Yeah.
3:30
Yeah.
or at 3:30.
yeah,
So,
well,
but it's all right. I'll take a
don't,
little nap tomorrow.
don't let me hold you up. So
Nah, you're
we need
good.
to wrap it up here, anyways. But
I'm enjoying this. I really like this. Thanks for coming out and
while we're here, if you had your choice, would you run cottontail or hair? If you
I'd
could
run
run either
hair.
or, you would.
I
So much fun, isn't
yeah,
it?
everything is bigger up there and better. The air is better. It's better air. My allergies disappear when I'm up there. I don't have them terribly, but I do have them in the summertime a little bit. I go up there, they disappear. The rabbits, they run bigger. Everything's better.
Yeah, that's just yeah.
Kick back and relax. I guess my favorite times is when your brother Paul goes along and we have our own cook.
Yeah,
And we don't go
that's
hungry there.
that's what he loves to cook. That makes it fun.
Leave a dog at camp for him to run.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy it. The drive is the only thing keeps me from going more than I do.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of, I try to go as much as I can. I'm lucky to go half a dozen times in the fall, but for me, I kind of, seeing how work is or whatever, and I'll make a last minute decision is why I go by myself a lot of times, just do a lot of day and a half trips or whatever.
Yeah, you did
know,
that
but-
quite a bit
Yeah,
this past
but
year.
you can get some miles on your dogs for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your dogs have come along pretty good. Henry and Homer, they're nice.
Yeah, I've ran them up there. I just don't get to run as much as a lot of you guys do, is just work all the time and different things, and
Yep.
and it's kind of hard to keep a dog where you want them to be, but it just
It-
takes longer for me sometimes, but
I say they're doing a lot with the amount that you're running.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
exceeding.
Yeah, well, hey, this has been a fun night, Atlee, and we got a little wet there to begin with, but the steaks were good, and this is what dog running's all about here.
Yeah, they're just
Out here
living right
listening
here.
to an old dog here just doing what he does so damn good. And they're talking about Bo, which is Classy, who we were talking about. We didn't even talk about Rock, Classy's brother, littermate brother. You loved him too.
I
He was a
did.
nice dog too.
That was a
Bo is just from a different cross here,
Mhm.
but
exact same cross,
yeah.
different litter. Bo is probably, he is the most underrated dog that I have. I just didn't get him in the field trials like I should have.
is he a grand or not?
He is.
And then my pup over there, kind of, she's been
She's
running the
still
whole
rolling,
night too.
yeah.
She goes, I'll follow your stock too. Hopefully I can keep her out there, and maybe I can talk you into keeping her over here and run her for about a week or a month or
Yeah, I'd
6
be up
months.
for that.
Man, you've got a nice place here, Atlee.
I
and,
appreciate it. I enjoy
yeah,
it out here.
You deserve it too. You've been it's
I
always
like
fun to hang around, and hang out, and run dogs like this.
Yeah, I'm blessed.
All right, man. Well, we need to catch up some dogs, and you need to get to bed. Some people got to get up at 3:30, I guess.
Yeah, I gotta go build some RVs for you guys to vacation in.
Yeah.
Somebody's gotta do it, right?
Yeah. There we are. I really enjoyed this. This is just some of the funnest times. I don't get to hunt as much anymore as I'd like to sometimes, especially getting out with buddies and on a hunt like this. And in this case, you got a older, well-seasoned dog out there running. Got my younger dog, and that's just good to see. The running was just excellent on this night, and both dogs are just doing a phenomenal job. Actually, I say Bo is always does great, his dog there, and I wish we could have heard more of them running. Listening to this, the mics don't pick it up like I wished it would, but most of the time we're sitting there, we can hear dogs. It's about a 17-acre field with an adjoining woods on it. Sometimes they'd run into the woods there and back out. But, man, it's amazing. On this night, they just didn't make much for losers at all. And for the most part of this, while we're recording this, the dogs are running the same tracks they started. And just a good time over there hunting with Atlee and reminiscing about some of the hunts we've had with some of his dogs. And he's had some good ones, so it was good to talk to him about some of his dogs. It's pretty amazing to me. Sometimes it's just dog after dog after dog seems to turn out for him in that line. But I guess that's probably the result of a good strain and a good reproducers, I guess, so to speak. But just a very common guy that loves his dogs, likes to hunt, just loves life, and that's Atlee there. And just fun to hunt with and hang out with. And this night was definitely one of those. So I hope you guys enjoyed this just kind of listening in and us yakking around while we're out there running some dogs. So, but with that, until next time, folks.
Hey, Alan, I don't know if you've been messing around with this new Houndsman Advantage app at all, but I've been playing with it some, and it has some really cool features on it. One, it has the interactive scorecard view where you can assign strike and tree points at the touch of a button, and it automatically totals your scores after each set of points are scored and valued.
Yeah, no, I like it as well. Some of the features that I like is that you can access the rules and that it comes with a search function to easily find any specific rule. Also like that there's a place for your dog's registration numbers, and you can store pictures of your easy entry cards. I like that you can track two dogs' performances when out pleasure hunting. You'll find some analytics on your dogs. You can record their accuracy, win percentages, and a whole lot of things like that.
No more lying here on this app. The last thing about the scorecard I'll talk about is it has the summary view as well, where you can see the total points you have and the pending points that you have, along with tree timers for each dog. So it's going to come in handy for judges as well. So check it all out on the new Houndsman Advantage app. Alan, you've been feeding Eukanuba dog feed for a while now. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I have, and I've really been able to put my beagles to the test, mainly running snowshoe hare up north where they run the hardest, where I put 15, 20, 25 miles on them easily in a day. And I've found that the premium performance sport has really paid dividends. Mainly, I noticed their stamina.
Yeah, same feed that I've been feeding. I think my dog looks good on it. He's really feeling good, and less kennel cleanup for me, so I highly recommend it as well.
Eukanuba, the official performance dog nutrition partner of UKC.
Thank you for listening to the UKC Hunting Ops Podcast. Be sure to give us a follow so you don't miss any of our new episodes or content.